I've been rewatching a lot of anime recently. I wish I could tell you guys why, but even I don't know. Usually when I do a rewatch, I just do it for fun, with no intentions of ever making a video on the show, and that's exactly what I've been doing for the past few shows. Yet, I knew once I delved back into my teen romantic comedy, that would change. I know I don't talk about it much, but I adore SNAFU. Mostly the first season, by the way. I am part of the group of people who never cared much for the second season. But in my rewatch of the first season of SNAFU, I couldn't help but pay attention to the dialogue. You see, I always knew the dialogue in SNAFU was good, but I never expected so much of the show to be weighted by the dialogue. So today, I want to talk to you guys about how SNAFU handles dialogue. I don't like voiceovers. I've never cared for them because to me, they are almost exclusively used for cheap exposition. So when the opening scene of SNAFU is a voiceover from our main character Hachimen, you may think I'd hate it. But in fact, it's probably one of my favorite opening scenes in anime. You see, SNAFU uses voiceovers in a very different way from your conventional anime, or hell, even just a normal piece of media. The opening scene is Hachimen reciting an essay on youth, basically just how vulgar and unfair it is. At no point does he ever mention himself, but through the context clues of his essay, you can begin to see what kind of person Hachimen is and just how bleak his outlook on life is. This voiceover is exposition, but it's not directly trying to feed you. You have to look deeper into the meaning of the words as if it were classic dialogue. Meanwhile, the show is establishing one of its major themes. That is the power of words. It's obvious pretty early on that Hachimen and soon-to-be introduced Yukino are both brilliant when it comes to wordplay. And instead of just having them say it, it's shown to us right off the bat. The way these two go back and forth, I had to sometimes stop and rewind a bit just so I can better grasp what they are talking about. The dialogue in this anime is dense, but incredible. Hachimen and Yukino are amazing characters to watch just sit in an empty room and talk. But the show doesn't stop there. The importance of these scenes filled with dialogue is that it helps you understand these characters better. They use dialogue in two different ways. Yukino uses her skills with dialogue to mask her true feelings, whereas Hachimen uses dialogue to express his ideals. It's pretty incredible to see them talk their way around situations. A good, easy example is when they went swimming at the camp and Yukino is being pitied for her breast size. Instead of acting embarrassed, she begins to list the differences and values people have. Outward appearances shouldn't be a judgment of people, and so on and so forth. Granted, this scene is played off as a joke because everyone can quickly read her and see that she is bothered by this. However, this is the perfect case study of how she uses dialogue. It's there to argue and hide who she truly is. Hachimen, on the other hand, is a very special case. He has no fears of expressing his warped ideals and often does so. They do this really cool thing with Hachimen where they will be having him do a voiceover about his potential solution to a problem, only to have another character actually respond to him. It's always kind of throwing us for a loop on how much of this was in Hachimen's head versus what he actually said out loud. Hachimen is unapologetic about his ideals, and often we see him secretly hoping his plans will fail, since they often rely on some of the worst traits of being human. I mean, look at the season finale. Hachimen could have easily stood aside and let Hayato handle the situation, that being the chairman for the school festival who had stood by and made Yukino do all of the work while she played with her friends and took all of the credit. She ran away with the ballots right before the end of the festival because she was wanting even more attention and everyone to praise her despite doing nothing. Hayato was willing to pamper her and tell her everyone is worried and basically give her exactly what she wants. Yet, Hachimen's ideals couldn't allow that. He decided to step in and basically call her out on her shit. Of course, as usual, he does it in an extremely clever way where he paints himself as a villain, so she'll still go with Hayato. But it's just really awesome to see Hachimen just drop verbal destruction on this girl whose only goal this whole time is to seek attention. SNAFU really holds up, and not just in the sense of incredible dialogue. I think the subject matters that these characters often have to deal with are also still handled incredibly well. From characters being bullied to making friends, and most importantly, this idea of learning to compromise. However, going into depth on all of that stuff would take way too much, so I guess you guys will just have to rewatch the show yourselves. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm actually really happy I found some time to make this video. Like I said, I love SNAFU, and it's one of my favorite anime, so I'm glad I finally got to revisit it. A huge thank to my patrons, you guys are my heroes. Speaking of which, if you're interested in seeing how I edit, joining our exclusive Discord, or simply supporting the channel, feel free to join me on Patreon. Make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Manime Matt. Make sure you guys stay man and go watch that goddamn anime!